The choke sign for Reggie, between him doing Jalen Brunson, we have a real rivalry.
Fourth quarter now, down 13. Knicks not going away. Mikal Bridges would hit 4 threes. That would make it a 10-point game. And then when Karl-Anthony Towns makes this putback, it's a 6-point game. So the Knicks are right there, 4 minutes to go. Anytime there was a question, Alan, the answer was Tyrese Halliburton.
Right, that's the problem, is that crunch time also includes getting stops, and the Knicks could not get stops when it mattered most.
Yeah, you may have seen his dad was back at the game, John Halliburton, last night. 2 minutes left, Pacers up 7. Oh, we got a collision. Karl-Anthony Towns.
Knee on knee.
Not good for Game 5.
No, it didn't look great. He did stay in the game. Yeah. Hopefully nothing too bad there. It's Nesmith and Towns who collide. But in the end, a minute left. Pacers inbounding up 7. Looking for a dagger. Where's the defense?
Well, they both went to Nesmith in the corner, Anunoby and Bridges. No communication. That was a problem from the beginning of the game for the Knicks.
Obi Toppin knocks down the 3. That's the dagger, and it's Indiana with a statement win, and that statement came from this man. Tyrese Halliburton last night became the first player in
found a way to do the impossible when it always seemed impossible. You know, we just keep fighting. So it's going to be a testament to our whole playoff run. You know, now we have to be in one of the biggest fights of our lives and of our season, and it starts with next game.
That's tomorrow night, Game 5 in New York. Chiney is here, and the win man, I will start with you. As you can take, I know you're too big a man to do it, but you could take a victory lap. You told us all before these playoffs started that the Pacers were a championship contender hiding in plain sight because of their seed. They, and in particular Tyrese Halliburton, very impressive last night.
Yeah, well, I think when you look at the Pacers, you have to have a coach that has a system that matches the talent. And actually, I think that in a lot of ways sums up the Knicks. The Knicks are there because of those things. But Halliburton is a player who rises above in the playoffs. I mean, he only averages 18 points. I say only like that's a low number. But in the modern day and age when lots of teams have multiple 20-point scorers, you don't see this guy routinely put up enormous scoring numbers like you see across the league, but he is a brilliant postseason player. He has got a number of amazing postseason performances, and this is the top of the list. And his ability to drive this team and take advantage of the rest of the talent is why the Pacers are on the brink of the finals.
Chiney, let me give the exact numbers again. He scored 32 points, 15 assists, 12 rebounds, and 0 turnovers. What are the right things to say, Chiney, about Tyrese Halliburton this morning?
This was the best performance I've ever seen from Tyrese Halliburton, wire to wire. Instead, he was in attack mode from the jump. And what I love about Tyrese Halliburton, he loves to go for the win. He loves to go for the kill shot. We've seen that in the clutch. But no, he did this over the course of the entire game. And it really started for me with his three-point shot. He's normally a guy that likes to distribute, to get his teammates going before he looks for his shot himself. Instead, he either scored or assisted on all 8 threes in the first half. He knocked down 4 of them himself. So I was truly impressed in his overall performance, and we're seeing a star born in real time.
Look, guys, if you're not waking up today, Wednesday, May 28th, saying that Tyrese Halliburton is a superstar, don't talk to me about basketball today, right? Like, possession by possession, he's the best manipulator in the game. He manipulated every single play offensively last night by finding the right matchups, by attacking in transition, by giving hockey assists. He was direct and aggressive from the beginning of the game, and he affected and accounted for over 80 of the team's 130 points. Between points and assists, over 80 points of the team's 130. That is a superstar that we saw on the grand stage.
He played like a superstar. I'll give you that. He played like a superstar. The Knicks let him play like a superstar as well. Early in that game, their defense was awful, and he was smart. He was aggressive. It was the perfect storm. He had a bad game 3. completely on skates. He played like a superstar in this game when it mattered the most, and he does embrace that role of a guy. He does the Brunson Selly, the choke thing. He's loving every minute of this series and playing against the Knicks because he's playing up that Reggie Miller role.
So when you say played like a superstar, is that a caveat to him being a superstar?
Getting there. Yeah, getting there.
I mean, how many other things does he need to do to prove that he's a superstar?
He probably want to get a championship.
Understood.
Yeah.
Okay, Anthony Edwards hasn't gotten a championship.
Yeah.
Wemby hasn't gotten a championship. There's a lot of other superstars that have not gotten championships, but he's made game-winning shots in each series that have been defining moments.
Yep. He's one win away from getting the stage
close
to himself next week.
Yeah, that's what it is. And again, superstars box office. Superstars, I'm buying a ticket to watch that guy play. I don't care about his team. I don't really like the team that's in my market, but I want to see that guy play. And the way he played last night, that's the kind of player you buy a ticket to watch.
Shanae, let's make an obvious point. The Knicks are a bad defensive team. They're just bad. They have sacrificed the moves they made during the offseason. They made themselves, which is the opposite of what you associate with Tom Thibodeau normally. They've turned themselves into an offensive team. But I'm just looking at the numbers. In the Pacers' 3 wins in this series, Janae, they have 138, 114, and last night 130 points. To me, it's not a whole lot more complicated than that.
Yeah, this was the second worst playoff performance defensively by the New York Knicks. And I was just watching the game getting more and more frustrated because the help side wasn't there. The win. Of the point of the attack was not there, and when I think about Jalen Brunson, going into game 4, he had the worst defensive rating of anyone on his team. And I watched the game and it felt like almost every possession he was on the floor. Now he takes a beating and he's a stellar player. He is a superstar too, if we're going to talk about people that, really are box office. But on the defensive end, they attacked him. And I think that was the biggest issue because your best offensive lineups can be defensive liabilities. And we've seen that happen time and time again. I was really frustrated because I was like, man, you have a team that is fully capable, but the connection, the on a string just was not there defensively for the Knicks.
Like it was in game 3. That's the biggest difference. It just wasn't there in this game.
Brunson was a minus 16 last night in his plus minus. And Winman, you and I were chatting briefly.
To get where they wanted against him, whether that's Brunson's issue, whether that's the guy he's working with's issue. In this series, when Karl Towns and Jalen Brunson are on the court together, the Knicks have been outscored by 24 points. It wasn't terrible last night. It was -4 when they were together. But that number, when you've got your 2 All-NBA players playing together, that needs to be better. And that's not saying it needs to be better. And that's not saying that they're terribly flawed players. That's an ode to the Pacers and the way that they're able to attack and put the Knicks on their heels. And that does go to Rick Carlisle and the game plan. And it also goes to Halliburton and the guys for executing it. And I will just say the same thing I said the last series when the Pacers were taking out the Cavs in 5. Had the Knicks not given away game 1 or let game 1 go away or however you want to frame it, this is it's 2-2, and you're going back to the Garden with home court. They did the same thing to the Cavs. They stole game 2 from the Cavs.